If you like mixed media and grunge, then this project is right up your alley. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and I am so happy that you're here with me today. We are going to be building this pocket folio together step by step, and this is going to be part one of many until we get it done. Also, if you're not already subscribed, this is a great time for you to do so, and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified anytime a new video comes out. Before we get started, I wanted to share something with you. So hopefully there's not too much of a glare here, but I do have my windows open because it's beautiful out today. But I wanted to share with you, this is the beginning of a journal for me. So usually this is what I would call a concept. There's a lot of times where I use the concept and it comes out nothing, like what I originally saw in my brain. And that might be the case today, but what's really great about this is I leave a copy of this so that if I want to go back and try to recreate it better, then I can. But I'm not going to allow that to stop me from creating. So even if it's not exactly the way that I wanted it, I'm going to be happy with whatever the outcome is. We are building a folio and I want it to be smaller. So usually the folios that I've seen are all like full size. I want this to be like a pocket folio, and I'm gonna see what we can do. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you the materials, which I'm gonna start off using a legal size file folder from Dollar Tree, and I think I have one left of each size. I was trying to get them today, but they didn't have any. My store was completely out, so I'll just use what I have. And I think I'm going to use one of maybe the top, either the top or the bottom tab. I'll pull one of those out, and then I'm going to start creating. So I have an idea of what I want to do. I'll put you guys on fast forward so that you can still see the process of me trying to come up with the concept, but I'll put it faster so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. And then I will come back and we will talk about measurements and dimensions and all that good stuff so that you can make one as well. I'm also going to be using my scoreboard, and this is mainly to be able to make creases just more sharp. You definitely do not have to do this. I'm going to give you an example right now. If you were, let me grab a piece of paper. So let's say you were going to, let's say I wanted this to crease here. So the way that I would use this, it's like this. And then it gives me a pretty good indent so that I can crease it. But let's say I don't have a score tool like this thing. And I'll be honest, this kind of takes up a lot of room. It does fold, but usually I have it put away because I like to do it by hand. And what I mean by that is this one does take a little bit of measuring sometimes, and so you're going to put your ruler down. I'm not going to measure, just to show you the example. And I'm going to take my ruler, I'm holding it down pretty firmly with my left hand, and I'm going to pull my papers up so that my hand is under the papers, and I'm just going to go along the edge. And this is considered a bone folder. It actually goes with my scoring tool that I just showed you. And we're going to make sure we flatten it out. And we can get, as you can see, a pretty crisp line doing the same thing. So if you don't have one, you can definitely use that. And like I said, you might have to measure a little bit and mark it, but it's definitely doable. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go over what we have so far so that I don't forget. So our first piece, if you remember, okay, so the first thing we did is I cut the file folder directly in half. So this was the file folder and it folded over just like this. And this was the center mark and I went ahead and cut it down the center. Okay, so now I was left with this piece. And I cut this, I believe it was 6.5. So I measured down 6.5 and cut this piece out. So now this piece, including the tab, this is 9.5, not including the tab. So this bottom piece, it's 9. So that's that measurement. Then we are going to score. The first score line right here is at 3.5, and then we did 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. And if you're looking at your scoreboard, it's every 2 notches that you would be doing that, even though these look off, but they always look off to me. Then the next, so we've got a score line at 3.5, at 3 3/4, and at 4 inches. Then our next score line is at 8 inches, 8 1/4, and 8.5 inches. And so that gives us this first piece, which is going to be our left-hand side and our base, kind of. So now I have this piece from down here somewhere, and this is going to measure, oh, it's kind of an off measurement. So it's 8 2/8. Is that right? No, that's not right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2/16. So is that 1/4? It's, oh, 1/8. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so 8 1/8. It's 2 little marks after the 8, though, if you don't know how to do that like I don't. And then you are going to score at 4 1/4, 4 1/2, and 4 3/4. And so now you have this piece. And now I'm going to have a flat piece, which I measured over, I believe this is 4 inches. And I left the little tab because I thought it was cute. So including the tab, it's 2.5 inches. And because it had this little cute little notch, I just folded it over and used it to cut out the notch. Oh, I cut it a little wrong, but that's okay. There we go. And then I'm going to have, the last thing I'm going to have is a little hinge piece that's going to hinge it, and I'll show you how it gets put together in a second. But right now we're just working with 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th piece. So this piece is going to measure out 2.5 inches by 4 inches, which is our measurement for this. Right? It's the same thing. And let's go ahead and put this little guy back together. If I can remember how we did it. Okay, so this is our hinge piece that's going to attach this middle piece. And there's 2 sides, right? This one, which is bigger than this side. This is what you want on your left-hand side. So I'm going to butt this up against the first score line that I have. And that's what's going to get glued right there. And then this is going to then shut like this. And then this is going to shut on top of it like this. Okay. But before we do that, there's going to be a piece here. And so this will get glued down here. This will get glued on top of this. And so this will be a flap that pulls up. So far, I think that the design is cute. It's close to what I was thinking. Not 100% perfect, but close. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to be adding the little like journal piece here. And then this will have a pocket here. This is a pocket, and then it'll get decorated, and that's it. So I'm gonna actually glue everything down using my ATC glue runner, just because it's simple, it's strong, and this pretty much acts like a double-sided glue. Or double-sided tape glue, I should say. So here I want to be real careful, since I am using a dry glue. I don't have a lot of room for error. There's just a little bit, and I'm going to glue that down. And as I always say, make sure that whatever you're doing, you burnish it really good. Okay, so now you can kind of see it built like this. And now let's go ahead and put this together. And on this one, you can decide how much you, oh, actually they're even. So one side will get butt up here and the other side will get butt here. So let's do the back piece first. I'm in the camp of there's never too much glue, but I usually have a mess on my hands. Now this is going to be just shy of this. It doesn't go all the way to the edge. That way when I close my book, it's not giving me extra bulk. So I am going to try to center it. That's pretty good. And then this piece is going to go on the top. And we're going to do the exact same thing on this one. I feel like my cut is off by just a little. So I'm going to choose a side. So I thought I checked it, but I guess I didn't. I'm just going to choose a side to line it up, and then I'm just going to kind of fudge it here with the... So it is a little sticky, so mind that. And I'm gonna just cut the little excess off. And you can't even tell that there was ever an error, right? Only you and I know. Okay, so that is the beginning of our folio, and that's what it looks like from the top, from the bottom. And then with folios, you can add as many things as you want to it. Today we are going to, so this is going to be at least a 2-part series. Maybe it'll be longer, just depending on how much we're going to embellish it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by protecting my surface, because we're going to paint this. So you know those really pretty file folders that you can get that are green, the hanging file folders, and they're nice and sturdy? So that's what I originally was going to use, and I was thinking, you know, a lot of people can't get their hands on them, but what they can get their hands on is regular file folders. So what I did was I went to Dollar Tree, I picked up some paint. So I got 3 primary-ish colors. True primary is for the pink, for the red color, it is a cyan, which is kind of a pink. I think that's, no, it's magenta. Cyan is the blue, and then yellow. And my Dollar Tree did not have these, and these are tempera paints, and they did not have it in red. They had it in this magenta color. So we are going to just use this. I've kind of talked about this before in my art videos, like way back, maybe a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I talked about primary colors, and really you can build any color using a primary. So I just wanted to encourage you today, if you don't have to have the whole color of the rainbow, now you could do this a little cheaper, and you could just go and buy just acrylic paint from Walmart, or who else sells them? Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, and they sell the little craft paints, which I don't have any on hand, but they sell the little like apple barrel or folk art paints, and then you can just get the color that you want and just spend $1 or something for that. I wanted to show you how to do it using Dollar Tree products, so that's why I went this route. And then I wanted to stop and talk about this for a second. So this is tempera paints, and then there are acrylic paints. And so the main difference that I know of is tempera is used a lot for kids because it's washable. It will not stain clothing. You can get it out for the most part. whereas acrylic has binders. So think of like glues or something along those lines that make it stick to the surface. The other difference is that tempera paints actually dry flat, whereas a lot of acrylics dry with a sheen. And because I want this to be more grungy and darker and flat, I opted for this. So we're going to together build the color. And I have this palette from my last video that I didn't even clean out. And I'm going to go rinse this off really quick and come back, and we are going to mix the paints together. And I'm going to use the center because it's the easiest. I am also going to grab a piece of paper, and I'm just using the back of one of my printables just so that I can test the colors out. Kind of funny, they had different lids. That one had like one of those styrofoam lids, and the first one, it was metallic, like foil. Okay, we're going to start by mixing a green. So you remember from elementary school, yellow and blue make green. So I'm going to start off with the yellow. And I know I'm actually going to want a lot of paint, so because we're painting the whole thing, and it might take 2 coats. I'm not sure. I'm going to start off with a little less blue than the yellow, and I'm just going to mix it using the back of my brush. That blue is very strong, and that happens sometimes, and you won't know until you actually play around with your paints. This almost looks like mustard, but we are getting a green. Do you guys see the green there? It's starting to form. We're getting a green, and we want to have a lighter green. And so even though we don't have a white, we can actually achieve that by adding more yellow, and it will lighten the color. But I kind of feel like this is pretty good. Maybe I'll add just a little more. And I'm going to just mix it here so you can see in the middle, and you can see that this is lighter than this. So I do like that. So I'm going to add a little more of the yellow. And honestly, if you just wanted a lime green and that was good, you could just use this. But we're going to darken this. I'm actually going to show you this color here. So it's pretty thin, so we might need several coats of this. So this is our color here. It's a little bright for me, so to dull down the color, the intensity of the lime, I'm going to add a little bit of the magenta. And I'm going to do it in the middle again so you can see the difference. And I'm going to show you here. Do you see the difference in the colors, in the tone that it gave me? And this is more what I'm looking for. I actually want it to be even more so. So I'm going to start with the middle. That way it's going to give me the color, and I can always lighten it back up, and then it can tell me if I need more. I actually think that I do want it darker. So that's pretty good on the color. I like that. So I'm going to take this. Remember, start with less. You can always add more. And let's say you took this too far and it got too dark with that pink. You can always just start adding the other colors back in to get the color that you want. There's no mess ups here. The only mess up is you not trying. And you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Ingrid. She does that sometimes. So I think that's a pretty good, it's getting everywhere. It's like slime. I'm gonna add a little more pink to bring it down a little more. There we go. That's the color I'm looking for. And it's going to have, because of the way I'm mixing it, I should have mixed it in a little cup instead, or a bigger vessel. And it's gonna maybe have some variations. It might have some like streaks of the blue or the green, whatever didn't get mixed. But I'm going to take this, clean this off, and put these to the side for now. And I'm gonna bring over my file folder and we're gonna start painting it. So you can definitely see that it is going on pretty thin. I'm going to try to keep the paint brush going in the, and I'm just using a big flat brush. I'm going to try to keep the paint going in the same direction. That way I'm not getting a ton of streaks. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward as I paint this. I'm going to dry in between coats and then keep going, and I'll do one side at a time. Okay, so this is 3 coats and it's looking pretty grungy. Now, something interesting, I actually have TV playing on to the right of me, and I was intensely watching, and I started to smell something burning, and I looked over and it gave me this fluorescent blue. So I'm going to go over the spots that are blue, and then I'm going to finish the back side, and I will be back when it's completely done, and then we will start decorating some of this. But like I said, we will be doing this in several parts. That way you can join me, and it's not too daunting to do it all at once. We can do it together. I'll hold your hand. We'll make the mistakes together. One thing I do want to say is that before I start painting the other side, I will make sure that I am folding over the edges. And I'll do the same once I start painting it. And that's so that the paint doesn't crack. Even though this paint is acting pretty good, it's actually really nice and matte feeling. And so I'm assuming that it's going to be really nice to distress as well. We're going to be able to sand it down. We're going to be able to distress it with stains and do a lot of fun stuff with it. So I will be back once I am done with both sides. Okay, I have my book here, my folio, and we are going to crease it. This is the back side and this is the front. And you can see some parts here that are a little darker, and those I just mixed in some extra red. And you can see some pieces here that didn't get coated all the way through, but that's okay because I want this to look distressed. I ended up having to use 3 coats total though to get the coverage. So we're just gonna go through and make sure that all of my edges are nice and sharp. And this might take a little time because you have to look to see where you're at. And this is exactly why I said it was important to fold your lines after each paint. That way you still have them intact. And I think, oh, there's one more set left. Done. I'm just going to fold everything together to make sure everything fits, and it does, and I'm happy with it. So now we're going to start. I'm going to go ahead and work on this piece first. Now, my original plan, if you recall my photo, let me grab that again. Okay, my original plan called for this to be a pocket, but because I added those the spine that is extended, then if I wanted to make this into a pocket, I would add a hinge. Let me show you. Okay, we're going to pretend this is the paper. We're going to add a hinge, and it's going to have the same 3 folds as you see here. That way it would open like this. Now, I could glue it down, but it's going to stay open right there, so I don't like that. So we're moving on to plan B, which I told you might happen, did happen, and it's okay. So we're going to start off by decorating this page. I'm going to leave it for now as a flap until we get a little further. Maybe I'll add a pocket here. I really love this color that it turned out, and it really does kind of look like one of those folders, specifically the more so the inside, because I took a little bit more time. By the time I got to this, I was getting a little like, I'm done. Plus I want to finish filming to be able to post this. So now I'm going to, we're going to grab this, and I'm going to grab pieces from my kits, and you can use whatever you have on hand. I do want a photo, and I want a photo that's landscape, right? Is that, no, portrait. So up and down. And I'm just gonna look through my ephemera really quick to see if I have any other photos that I can use. Oh, I love this guy. He's actually one of my favorites. We're going to use him. Oh, I just caught a glimpse of the paper now that it's dry with the paint. So if you recall, that was our first color. Then this was our second color and our third color. So you can kind of see it a little bit more now that it's dried. Okay. Oh, that's gonna look so great right there. I'm actually going to, I think I'm gonna use the netting from Dollar Tree. If you haven't gotten some of this yet, you need to probably go soon to get it, because it's in the Halloween section and that's gonna be gone. To give this more the appearance of having more texture, I'm gonna grab, if you see these threads go this way and then some go this way, I'm gonna pull out the ones that go horizontal. Oh, I kind of like that. Oh, I like that so much more. So just be careful with this though, because once they start pulling out, they pull out and you can't get them back in. And I want it to be very disheveled. Let's cut it right here. I have not cleaned up my desk much in the last little bit, and so unfortunately I have piles of stuff all around me, and I'm afraid that if I were to make any sudden movements, it's all gonna come piling down. So I'm trying to avoid that over on the side. I do have this. That might be good. Or this. I think I like this one better. I like the look. Yeah, I think I like that. And let's see if I can get this to work. I think it's a little too big for that, but what I am going to do is distress the coffee dyed paper that I have here. Oh, I have a little tiny bit of music paper, so that might make it on here. I got a comment from a viewer and she said that she uses her music paper because she plays with it. So I'm not sure if that's piano or violin or if she sings, but I thought that was really awesome. I don't do any of those things. Do you? Do you play any instruments? Do you sing? I think that that is so admirable and wonderful. My kids played piano when they were younger, and then with the moves and stuff, we lost our piano teachers and we just didn't keep up with it, and I wish we would have. I don't think any of them absolutely loved it, but I think it would have been good for them to keep. Kind of like that. I do have this. It's a Tim Holtz stamp. I'm gonna hope that doesn't move around too much. And I am going to distress this. This is that Dollar Tree paper pack. And if you haven't caught that video, I've shown the paper pack several times, but I'll have the video link down below. Such a good buy. I doubt it's going to adhere to the netting, but I'm going to go ahead and try. Okay, it held on a little bit. Now I want to layer all of this on top of something else that's maybe, oh, that would be really pretty with the blue in the background. I've been wanting to go back and look at my old digitals to see if they were as good or not as good as the ones that I've been making, because I love these and I just think it comes with some experience of making them, but maybe not. Maybe it's just the style. I am, let's see. I love that tear that it gave me. And on this side, I'm going to distress it since I didn't tear it and I cut it. I've said this before, I think that the corners are kind of a vital part of the design. Oh, that cut so good. That was accidental, but it almost looks like that. Ah, that's so good. Ah, I love that. So we're going to leave that here. And remember, like I told you guys, we're kind of fidgeting the paper so that we get that yummy design texture at the bottom. I'm glad this didn't catch me on camera because I just grabbed these scissors and like kind of throw them up and caught them in my hand. It reminded me of The Office. Michael Scott does that. And now what I could do, now that I'm thinking about it, is instead of putting this down all the way, we can make this into a pocket. So I'm going to grab my ATC gun. And I'm going to estimate, oops, wrong way. I'm going to estimate whereabouts this is. Okay, let's get that back. I could put it down towards the bottom, or I could center it, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to center it. So I don't know if I'll be able to see this mark or not with this paper, but I'm going to try. I'm going to hold my finger there and then that one. So I'm going to try to just add some glue here to the center. And because of the mesh, I'm going to go ahead and add some wet glue as well. And I've been loving this glue. It does make a huge mess, but it holds really well, and I really like it for kind of mixed media. Part of it's my fault because I squeeze a little too much out. That down. Good. While that is kind of drying, I glue down those bits. And remember, just burnish it as you go. The other thing is you could have distressed the photo as well. Okay, now for the edge, I am going to use my art glitter glue. And so I'm just going to run the glue around the edge. I want a good amount on because I do have the paper on here that's kind of heavy, but also that glue does not give you much time, does it? And then I'm just going to commit. And press it down wherever I kind of remember the glue is. Roll those edges back up. Let's see, look how cute that looks already. Now we're gonna have a pocket here, so that'll be fun because it will make this stand out. I am though going to go ahead and just distress this a little. Oh, and look how good that looks. So some of you might have been thinking like, well, why did you just paint that instead of just covering it with paper? And this is why. I wanted to get some of that edge poking through. and then I can mark it up. Look how good that is. I'm going to do the same to the edge, just a tad. That just took it to another level. I don't know if you saw that really materialize before your eyes, but it definitely did. I'm going to add some of this to try to get this down just a little. It wants to peel up. And I think that's going to be it for today. So I hope that you like this project. I hope you're doing it with me. I would love to know down below if you are doing it. Just give me, just let me know, or put a heart or whatever you want. But I hope that you enjoy this project, and I hope it's something a little different, and maybe it's going to take you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. That's my goal today, because when we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, that's when we can kind of really evolve and mature in our art, whether it's journaling or art or, you know, anything, playing an instrument, doing a sport, whatever your art is. It's those moments where you go outside of that comfort zone where you can really learn and grow. So I hope that did that for you today, and I hope that you, even if you weren't going to join in, that you save this video and then you come join us and do it. I promise we'll go slow, it'll be easy, we'll take one step at a time and not get too overwhelming, and we're gonna have fun doing this project. And just in case you haven't been told today, you are strong, you are resilient, and you are loved unconditionally. So I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for all of your love and support. I thank you for all of your comments. I read everyone. I'm behind again, of course, but I'm trying to get through them. And a big thank you to my patrons. You guys are so awesome, and I could not say thank you enough. And if you want to know more about becoming a patron of mine, you actually get some really great benefits. You get printables, a ton of printables since last October, as well. So coming up almost a year. And then there's also a discount code for my Etsy shop, and it's really good. And so anyways, if you're interested, it's linked down below. But until next time, love you guys. Bye.